in chapter 8.6a, solving rational equations. Your understanding of adding and subtracting fractions is going to help today. Your understanding of how to solve is going to help today. If you've gained confidence with creating an least common multiple, then this section is going to be easier to understand. And because we're already equipped, let's just take a look at how we apply the skills that we already know how to do. But before doing that, let's look at a question real quick from a logical perspective. If, let's say I have x over 6 plus 2 over 6 equals 9 over 6, would it not make sense that, since this is just going to be x plus 2 over 6 equals 9 over 6, that x would have to be 7? Same thing here. If x over something messy plus 3 over the same something messy equals 5 over the same something messy, we really don't even care about the 6's in this problem or the messy part of this problem. All we're looking at is the numerators. Is that x plus 3 equals 5, which means that x would be 2, and you would move on from there. Now, of course, the only thing we have to do is make sure that that 2 works in the denominator, that it's not an illegal value, but that's pretty much all you need to know what to do. These questions do take you on an adventure sometimes, but they're not so bad, again, as long as you've kind of kept up with your skills there. And typically the way I solve them is as follows. I don't really rewrite them as fractions. What I do is I put my LCM off to the side and I use that to kind of guide what I do over here. So for example, number wise, I have a 6 and an 18. The least common multiple of 6 and 18 as numbers, of course, is 18, because if you were to try to count by 18, remember the big steps and the small steps. Start with the big number. 6 goes into 18, which means 18 is your number, and you need room for an x plus 3. So with that said, again, this is my least common multiple. So looking at this fraction, what is missing from here that's over here? And that would just be your 18. What is missing from here that's over here? And that would be, you need your 6 to turn into an 18, so a 3 and an x plus 3. What is missing from here is just x plus 3. And so with that said, I think it's back to doing that auto zoom thing. I gotta learn to remember to do that before I go. Sorry, don't think I can change it in the middle of the video without wasting too much time like I have been. But again, what I do is I write everything. So 4 parentheses 18 here, because again, I don't need the bottom, since in the end, as we said here, the bottom of the fraction isn't going to be important anyway, plus 5, and in this I have to use a bracket, so bracket 3 parentheses x plus 3 equals 23 times x plus 3. Then you make this easier. 4 times 18, I believe, is 72. Do your first multiplication here, so 5 times 3x plus 9 equals 23x plus 69 over here. You then go ahead and get rid of your last level, so 72 plus 15x plus 45 equals 23x plus 69, and as you see, the numbers get nicer and nicer and nicer. So 15x plus, that's 11, that's 7, so 117 equals 23x plus 69 here. Move your 15x over here, you end up with 8x. Move your 69 over there, 9 plus 8 makes 17, making that a 7, which means that there's 4 left over. And then of course 48 divided by 8 gives us the answer of 6. Give me one moment, I gotta get my other calculator, my favorite calculator. So look at that magic. So I'm going to take my 6, and again, the reason why I like this is because I can show it to you a lot faster. 4 over 6 plus 3 plus 5 over 6 equals 23 over 18, which is exactly what it's supposed to equal, so we know that 6 does work. I do suggest that you somehow or another try to find a way to check your answers as you go higher into math. Again, right now, Your answers aren't going to be that difficult to figure out what works and what doesn't work, but remember that extraneous solutions do exist and you do need to be ready to address them. Looking at this one, again, kind of eyeballing it here. You have an x plus 5 here, a big one here, and an x plus 3. Your first hope is that this has both of those in there. So let's just look real fast. Numbers that multiply to be 15 and add to be 8. 5 plus 3 do make 15. I'm sorry, 5 times 3 do make 15. 5 plus 3 do make 8, which means that that is what my LCM is, which is x plus 5, x plus 3. So looking at here, the only thing missing here is x plus 3. That already has both of them. There's no need for me to write anything again. Just, I would put a 1 if it's a computer, but you don't have to. And the only thing missing here is x plus 5. So now we have, again, your first line of writing is what's most important. 2x times x plus 3 minus, and because that's a minus, I'm going to put this into parentheses. If that was a plus, you'd be fine, but remember that a negative sign distributes. So you want to probably put that in parentheses there. Equals 3 times x plus 5. Simplifying now, you get 2x squared plus 6x minus x squared plus x and plus 10 equals 3x plus 15. Combining your terms now, x squared plus 7x plus 10 equals 3x plus 15. And again, continuing this on, elephant on the boat, moving this over here, you get x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 3, or I'm sorry, equals 0, which is what we want. Because we know how to factor, you now factor this x plus 5, multiply to be 5, subtract to be 4, yep, x plus 5, x minus 1. And so the answers that it tells me are -5 and +1. But again, the reason why I said that you want to check it is so you make sure the fractions are true. I'm not going to check to make sure this fraction is true. Actually, I will real quick, but I know that -5 doesn't work, and the reason I know -5 doesn't work is because it blatantly does not work here, which means the only answer that really does work is the 1. And again, just to show you, I will type this in here real fast as I can. I am better at programming this, so 2 parentheses 1 over 1 plus 5 minus 1 squared minus, this is why I recommend this calculator if you're doing something mathematical with your life, because it does ease up a whole lot of stress with its ability to kind of keep everything organized. But when I typed that in, I got 3/4, and obviously if you put a 1 down here, that's going to turn to a 4, making it 3/4, and so you know those two things do match. And then the last question. Again, in your brain, in my brain, most mathematicians' brains, when they see this and this and this over here, they think to themselves, I hope these two are factors of this, because I would hate to have 3 parentheses that have to be used. And so you kind of, again, look at it and either factor it or just check it out real fast, and here's how you check it out really quickly. 2y times y is 2y squared. That's going to make 1y, which put that in your memory. That's going to make -10y, -10, and +1 do make -9, which is good. And then -5 times +1 does make -5, which means that is my LCM of y minus 5 to y plus 1. Now I know I tell you to work on your mastery so that you can factor and do all this stuff on demand, but you do also have to remember that being efficient is the most important thing, and so you want to kind of figure out ways to use your hunch and kind of glance over that hunch instead of having to go through and say I want numbers that multiply to be -10 and add to be negative 9, put the numbers down and go through the 2y squared plus something y equals whatever, and do all that factoring, because that's going to kill time. And not so much that life is about rushing or that math is about rushing. You just want to be as efficient as you can possibly be, and that helps. Here, again, the only thing missing is 2y plus 1. Here, the only thing missing is y minus 5. And here, what's missing is nothing. And so, again, you will do 2 parentheses, 2y plus 1, plus, because that's a group, I want to put y minus 1 in its own parentheses, equals 2. So again, 2 times 2y plus 1, copy the sign, plus y minus 1 times y minus 5, yes, that's right, equals 2. I just had a feeling one of those should have been a plus, but that's right, because that's y minus 1, and that's what's up there. Doing your multiplication, you get 4y plus 2 plus, not equals. Again, quickly going through this, y squared minus 5 minus 1 makes minus 6y plus 5 equals 2. Again, you want to make sure you kind of practice doing the basic ones. And all it is x squared, add these two to make negative 4x, multiply these two to make negative 21. The better you get at that, the better off you're going to be, especially if you can do it with actual numbers and kind of freeze the numbers in your memory. Again, it's just making you more efficient. Again, not that you have to do that, but it does help to be faster or more efficient again at doing that stuff. So either way, putting this simplified is going to be y squared minus 2y plus 7 equals 2, which means that y squared minus 2y plus 5 equals 0. Of course, we cannot factor that because there are no numbers that multiply to be 5 and add to be 2, which means the only thing we know how to do is to do the quadratic formula. So let's set that up. So I'm going to, again, I'll just go ahead and do it right. So negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I don't really need to write the letters, so negative parentheses negative 2 plus or minus square root of negative 2 squared minus 4, 1, 5 all over just 2, because again, that's going to be 2 times 1. That gives me a 2, bless you, if you get the joke. Plus or minus, sorry, I'm just a comedian. It's like the job I would have if I wasn't a teacher. Negative 2 squared minus 4, 1, 5 equals, and notice that you get the answer of negative 16, which means that your life is easy, because that means that there is no solution. There's no real number that's going to make this true, which means there's no need to go any further. But whatever would happen, whatever answers you got there is what would make that even equal, and so that would be your solution. So I did put I think 9 or 10 questions on your homework. The good news for you is that we do have one more day of work, and the way I planned it with us doing this is that if you were working with me, that your spring break would actually start on Friday. So tomorrow is your last lesson for me until after spring break, and this is your last lesson from this chapter. So again, that is that for me today and tomorrow, and then going from there. And tomorrow is like just word problems with this stuff. So again, if you kept up with me and you've been doing most of what you're supposed to do, then you're in good shape, because you won't have a lot to do until after spring break. So enjoy your day, enjoy your break, and good luck with the Math XL.